Hey, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you all here. We've got a good group. Um, I'm Jason. You probably know me, but I'm very excited to have Matt Suess with me today. Matt is a professional photographer up in Montana, and he's been doing workshops for a long time. And he has some really cool stuff to share with us today about a trip that he took. Was it this past summer, right, Matt?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, in July.
Okay, so in July, Matt went to the Faroe Islands to do some photography, and it's a bucket list place for a lot of us. So
And it's
before,
not me.
yeah, and you check the box. So what's really cool is that we're going back next year, and Matt's asked me to be a co-instructor. So we wanted to do was I wanted to bring Matt on to you guys for my webinar series, so that you can meet him and see what he's up to because he does some amazing work. Matt's a OM system ambassador. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. They keep changing the name. We used to call it Olympus. Now it's OM Digital Solutions slash OM System. Um, but he's using, I believe you're using the OM one and all the goodies, right?
Mhm.
And Matt, when did you get into Micro Four Thirds out of curiosity?
Oh boy, probably about 4 years ago, I think now.
Okay.
Left Sony full frame for Micro Four Thirds.
Interesting. Okay. That's it's not a typical path, but it's not unusual either. So that's great. And obviously if you've been doing it for the last 4 years, you must be pretty satisfied with the system, I'm guessing.
Oh, completely. It's crazy because when I actually switched, I was in a sort of a little bit of a rut with photography, and Olympus actually sent me as part of a pro loaner program my choice of a camera and a couple lenses just to shoot with non-committal at all or anything like that for a couple months. And as soon as I picked up the camera and started seeing all the cool features about it and everything, it really sparked some creativity for me that I picked up my Sony camera once after that. And then once the loaner program was up, I was like, I think I need to switch over to Olympus.
Yeah, and switching isn't something one does lightly. So that it says a lot when you do that. So that's awesome. Anyway, so that's very cool. And when did you get into photography? I'm just a little background.
Ooh, when I was 12 years old, which
That sounds about like me.
a while ago. Yeah, I had a
So yeah.
dark room, the old film days, and was processing black and white film, even color slides back then, and eventually became a photojournalist and did that for 17 years and been doing landscape photography and education for, geez, almost another 17 years now.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I know that path well. Mine was interrupted a little bit with the thing called graduate school, where I went off and spent a long time getting a PhD in biology, which I love. I love the outdoors. I love biology and being able to
Mm,
sort of fuse that with taking pictures. Photography for me is a vehicle to get me outside more, to do
mm.
stuff, to get out in nature, whether it's wildlife or landscapes, it's wonderful stuff. So, um, this is great. And so rather than sit here and we could chat all day, why don't you share your presentation on the Pharaohs for our group today? And then at the end of the presentation, we'll stop the recording and we'll open it up to questions. I'll allow people to go off mute, or you can use we have the chat window, the meeting chat where I can send info and you can type stuff to us as well. So both of those work. So Matt, show is yours.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that screen again. Ah, I found it. And
Hey, I
all right,
can see it.
we are golden then now, right?
I see it on my screen. So if I can see
Okay,
it, I'm guessing everyone
perfect.
else can.
All right, well, we're going to talk about the Faroe Islands, and I'm wondering how many people out here have heard of or have not heard of the Faroe Islands before. If anyone wants to throw that in the chat window, go ahead. I had heard of it before, but wasn't too familiar with it until I started doing a workshop out there this year. And let me tell you, it is an amazing place. And so this presentation, I'm going to go through and show you some photos that one of my colleagues that I did a workshop with, Kawhi Lin, a lot of these photos are his, but I also have some of mine interspersed in here too. He's been going out there for a long time, so he's gotten a lot of really crazy light that's out there. And the Faroe Islands are a really unique area for photography and for light. Now, the workshop that I did this past summer, we had a lot of clouds, a lot of fog, and so it was more of a moody type of a scene for us. But they get some really good color there too, and so I'll be showing you some photos there. But a little bit about me, if you don't know who I am, I've been a full-time professional photographer since 1990, photojournalist for 17 years, landscape, night sky, wildlife, and nature photographer. That's what I specialize in. OM System Ambassador, as Jason said, and also Nisi Photo Pro and Aurora Wear Ambassador. And I do domestic and international photo workshops, mentorships, online courses, and fine art print sales. And I'm sure a lot of you know Jason, but Jason, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? And first, did you just Photoshop yourself into a scene in the Faroe Islands for this photo?
No, actually, this is in Ireland of all places. But as we're going to see, geographically speaking, all these places are fairly close together when we look at
Yeah,
it. So yeah, it was kind of cool. It's one of the few pictures I have of myself. This was a few years ago when I took a group to Ireland. As I mentioned earlier, my background is in science, in biology. I received a PhD in 2002 from University of California in Riverside. Um, I was shooting slide film at that time, and I got out of graduate school right about the time that digital started to take off. So by 2005, I picked up my first digital camera, digital SLR, and been using that. And then I got involved with some online groups. Niconians was one of them. I started a podcast with a buddy of mine here in Colorado Springs back in 2005. We have been doing that. We took a little hiatus, but we've been back on the air now since I think 2018. And I've been doing workshops since 2007. And in 2010, I decided, I could do this as my full-time thing. So in 2010, I went full-time, been doing workshops. Mostly were domestic, and I started branching out into some international trips to include landscape photography, wildlife photography, and travel and tourist photography, which is fun too. That's about me. And then since April, I started migrating over to the OM system camera. I'm shooting an OM1 now with a bunch of lenses, and I'm really enjoying the small size of the micro four thirds. I just feel like a whole weight has come off my shoulders.
a lot of weight. No, I mean, really.
Yeah, like 50% weight.
Well, I've been following you for a long time. Back in the Nick software days, I think you
Oh
had a couple
yes.
books on how to use those programs.
I realized the bullet point I didn't put up here is that I've authored about 15 or 16 ebooks on digital photography, mostly software oriented, but not all of them.
Hmm. Yes. All right. So Faroe Islands. So the Faroe Islands is an autonomous country within the Kingdom of Denmark. And it is located right out there in the middle of the ocean. So it's north of the United Kingdom. It is west of Norway and southeast of Ireland. And when we're flying out there, usually you fly. What I did this summer, I flew out to Amsterdam from the United States, and then from Amsterdam flew out to Copenhagen, and then from Copenhagen to the Faroe Islands. And if you're going to be joining us, which we hope you are going to be joining us out there, definitely try and book your flights so that you can spend at least a day in Copenhagen. So there's a really nice airport. Then there's a hotel right at the airport, and there's a train that goes right there. So you can go hop into town really easy. And Copenhagen is a fun city. These are the Faroe Islands, and there's 18 islands out here. And all these little map points that you see there, those are all potential locations that we would be potentially going to. When we do these workshops, what we're doing is we're chasing light, and we're looking for the best opportunities. So we have a whole list of locations that we could go to. We don't go to every single one of them, but we try and maximize the best light based on the day and where we are in that particular day. But you can see there's a lot of different places that we can go out there and photograph. Uh, Faroe Islands is a big fishing community. I think, boy, I think it's like something like 90% of their exports is fish. This is a black and white photo that I got. And this is a salmon fishery there. So all the salmon are being raised in those little pens. And you see this out there quite a bit. Faroe Islands is also known for sheep. There are a lot of sheep, and there are a lot of sheep. But 50,000 is roughly the population. It's a little bit more than 50,000 people right now in the Faroe Islands. There's 80,000 sheep out there, and there is 500,000 puffins out there. And we're going to be talking about the puffins because that's one of the highlights of photographing out there are those puffins. But I did mention that Jason and I are going to be doing a workshop out there next summer, and it's going to be August 8th through the 15th. And Jason will throw a link to the workshop page in the chat. And it's only open for 12 photographers, and we only have spots left for 5. So it's filling up really fast. So if this is something you're really interested in, definitely take a look at this page. So why summer? Why August in the Faroe Islands? Well, the lights, long daytime, least rain, ever-changing, long magical hour, and did I say puffins? We got puffins, and when the puffins are feeding the pufflings, the little baby puffins, that's when we get those fishes in the beaks. So let's, I just, there we go. There. So the light for, in August from the workshop that we're going to be August 8th through the 15th, sunrise is at 5:11 a.m. and we have a magic hour, which is we're almost like 3 hours, so about an hour and a half before and an hour and a half after that sunrise point. And same thing with sunset. Sunset's at 9:52. Now those times, sunrise and sunset, that's on August 8th. And on August 8th, we have 16 hours and 41 minutes of daylight. But actually, by the end of the workshop, just what's that, 7 days later, we lose 40 minutes already. So, Faroe Islands are a little bit north, and, it's crazy how fast you lose the daylight in the summer. So we'd be losing 20 minutes in the sunrise and 20 minutes at sunset, roughly, just in the week that we're together out there. And you can see here, this is what we're talking about in terms of that magic hour, where you get that nice golden hour, but before that, you get the blue hour. And then, obviously at sunset, you're getting that golden hour followed by a blue hour. And it's a really short nighttime out there in August. So there's only maybe about 3 or 4 hours of pure darkness in the middle of the night at the time that we're going to be going out there. And the light out there, like I was saying, the light changes. It's unbelievable out there. Now, I didn't get a chance to see this type of light this past trip. This shot here is from Kauai, but I got 3 photos here to show you from the same location just how this light can change. This here is some really great, fantastic golden light. This is another shot of Kauai's here on a nice, moody, overcast day. And this is my photo here from this summer where we had a little bit of spotty light coming in. So it's amazing just, how much this area can change with the light. Here's going to cycle through a couple other photos here. This is from Kauai, and as well as this here, same location, just different light here. Gives you a completely different look. Fantastic location for landscape photography. And here's a fun fact. The Faroes have an average of 210 rainy or snowy days per year and can be really foggy in the summer. And we had a bunch of that this past summer. And there are actually 37 words for fog in the Faroese. I don't know any of them, but it's kind of crazy to think that they have that many words for that. And the puffins, 500,000 puffins. So we're going to be going to a specific island out there for the puffins. And what we end up doing is it's a boat ride out there. And to make sure that we're going to go out there on the best day possible, I have a guide that's out there who I'll introduce you to in a moment here. But what we end up doing is we end up buying boat tickets for all of us for 3 different days. And that allows us to then pick the best of the 3 days to go out there and photograph the puffins. Last thing we want to do is be out there if it's going to be pouring rain all day. So the only way to really do that is to get tickets for all 3 days, and we end up going out there on one of the days, which is going to be the best for puffins. And we can see the island over there is in the upper left-hand corner for the puffins. And it's a really nice, fun boat ride. We can see the boat ride over here. You got the arrow from where the boat leaves the one of the islands going out to, and I think it's Mechanes is the I'm terrible with these names out here. But it's a really nice, fun boat ride going out there. There's actually a lot to photograph whenever we're going to be going out on boats. And you can see here, this is our group this past summer, right before we were heading out there to go out to that island. And here's a shot from the boat heading out there. This is a really nice, I don't know what the name of this arch is, but this is a really cool thing. It's amazing when you're on the boat just going right past this rock formation. So, when you're sitting on the boat, you'll definitely want to be keeping your camera handy. And even just shots like this, I got this from the back of the boat. There's excuse me, tons of photo opportunities just from the boat. So you get to the island, and there's a little bit of walking on this one here. So we have to walk up there. You can see where the boat drops us off. We got to walk up 1,000 steps of stairs, and then you sort of get to the mid ground, and then from there there's a small little village, and then we have to go further up on a little bit of a dirt path to get to where the puffins are. And you can see here just the height difference from the water's level to where this is one of the highest points up on top there, where the puffins love to hang out. And incredible views up on top there. But there are puffins and puffins and puffins and puffins. You're going to have a lot of puffin photos. And it's also important too to mention that we're working with a local guide out there, Thomas Vickray, and I'll show you his photo in a little bit. But he lived out there for a while, so he knows he knows a lot of the people out there. He has a lot of the connections out there. Normally, when you book this tour to go out and see the puffins, you're in a group of about 100 people, and they just kind of walk you through, and you can't really move around too much at all or anything like that. But Thomas, what he does is arranges basically we can have our own private self-guided tour, and that's really nice because that gives us a lot of time to photograph the puffins. We're not in a crowd of 100 people, and we can just relax and just chill with these birds and get tons and tons of photos. Now the fish, it's not every year you get this chance to get the fish. It's almost kind of like fall foliage, where one year it's great with the fall colors, and another year it's not so good. I'm sure you've seen that a little bit in Colorado there, Jason.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes there's no fish in the ocean for these poor birds, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that they are going to get that fish, because that is a really cool photo to have with these birds. But there's so many photo opportunities with these birds. You can get them with the ocean and the blue background, with some greenery in the background there, and it is a lot of fun. Now there is one small little restaurant up there to eat at. They call it the Locals, and Kauai says they have really good fish soup. I didn't eat the fish soup. I had the hot dogs, believe it or not, which their hot dogs are a little weird out there. They're a hot dog inside of a bun that's wrapped around the whole thing. So a little bit different than our hot dogs in America here. But this is a nice little midday snack that we can stop at. And if you want to see more about puffins, my colleague Kauai, he has a documentary video on that. And actually, that video, you can search it on YouTube here, or it's on the workshop page that we have there for you. You can go ahead and play that and check out all the puffins. Now, why would you want to go on a workshop with us? Oh boy, I don't know why I gave Kauai that photo. That photo's like 25 years old of me. He put it in there. I had no idea. Stealing part of Kauai's presentation for us here, but that was me back in my photojournalism days at Shea Stadium covering a Mets game. That's Thomas in the middle there, our local guide. And Jason, how old is this photo of yours? I've seen this one for a while.
It's probably a good 10 years old, I think. I had to tell what camera that is. It was like a D810 or something like that, or something.
Yeah, I can't. It almost looks like it looks like it has the removable grip on it.
Yeah, so it was a D8 something.
Yeah. And this is me with Thomas this past summer, and he's a really cool guy, knows all the locations, and he's a good photographer too, and does some drone work as well. And you can bring your drone out here if you have a drone. I actually hope to have one by next summer. Highlights of the trip. So the itinerary, chasing the light, we have color mode. So sunrise, 4:30 to 6:30, that time frame with the golden hour and the blue hour, sunset, 8:30 to 11:30. And then we'll take a rest in the middle of the day on some days than when we're not on the boats. There's moody photography mode when we get that fog and we get that mist. Photography in the day and sleep in the nighttime. And when we get that mist and those cloudy, foggy days, that can actually make for some really striking black and white images. And best day for birding, I mentioned the day trip to Mykonos and the date with the 500,000 puffins. We're going to be picking one of those 3 best dates that we have tickets to get us out there. What will you learn from this trip? Creative long exposures. Being along the ocean, great for doing those long exposures. You get those 10, 16 stop neutral density filters during the middle of the day. You can do a 5-minute exposure, smooth out that water. Composition, how we see landscape from higher viewpoints, chasing the light, not just color, but ever changing and moody lights, bird photography, and also iPhone photography. I've been using my iPhone a lot more for shots. And if anyone has their phone with them, I'm more than happy to show you the way I approach a scene with my iPhone. It's amazing the technology that these little tiny cameras that you always have with you can do. Another fun fact, just to compare the size and sense of scale with Singapore, Faroe Islands is about 1,393 square kilometers and Singapore is about 719. So Faroe Islands is 1.9 times bigger than Singapore. But the Faroe Islands only has 9 traffic lights as of 2021 and 8 in the capital of Tórshavn, I think is how you pronounce it, and 1 in Nordapil. While Singapore has 2,185 traffic lights and a lot more people. Small villages. This is what's really cool about the Faroe Islands. You get these small little villages, and in the summer, you get this lush green grass and you get the ocean. I mean, it's a photographer's paradise. It's just amazing being out here and seeing these tiny little villages. And I got some close-ups here. Those were from Kauai. This is one of the, this is another boat that we, depending on our travels, we most likely will probably go on this one here too. This one here, we drive our car on. The boat that we went to the Puffins, we're actually walking on. But this one we drive our car on to go to another island, the furthest island south, Sudaroy. And this trip here, you can see us just leaving the port over there this past summer. But even from this boat, again, great photos can be had. And this is when we were pulling in there and we just had some really nice spotty light, sunlight coming through the clouds, lighting up this old church, and using a long lens and photographing that. Great shot. This one wasn't from the boat, but this is another area here. I mean, this one here almost, I think it would make like a good puzzle or something like that, with that water reflection and that color. And again, that spotty light just coming on the very center of the scene. Same thing with this photo here from this past summer. I love when I get that spotty light out in nature. And there's also details too to be found in these small little villages. I found this old wooden boat, just fell in love with this scene here, just peeking through this old garage. And these next few photos, speaking of iPhone, these were from the iPhone, and they have some some of these towns, they have some character to them too. They love their sheep out there, as as you can see right over here. So lots of fun things to be photographing for the details, as opposed to just the big dramatic landscapes too. So you're gonna be everywhere you turn, there's gonna be almost potentially a photo opportunity for you to have. Even just something as simple as entrances to the doors. And their little colored rock people here. And a couple more photos of some small villages. And these beautiful turf roofed houses are called, oh boy, I don't know. You want to try that one, Jason?
No. I'll just let everyone read it. Then you put like little crosshatches on other letters that aren't even letters. So I draw the line there.
Well, it means Dove's Garden. We'll just call it that. And so we also have winterscape, seascapes, rivers, and waterfalls. This waterfall here, This is Kawhi's shot, and you can see on the photo on the right, it's this waterfall is crazy because you have this upper level of the waterfall, then he's photographing the middle one, and then it comes down even further. So we can hike up into that area right up on top there. Funny because I actually dropped my camera up on there. My OM1 dropped right on a rock. Thing's still working perfectly. And I was talking about black and white. This was my shot from there. Just worked. It was an overcast day. Worked really well for a black and white photo for me. More waterfalls throughout the area there. You get any rain at all, the islands just come alive with waterfalls everywhere you look. And here's another one of my black and white photos. Now this area is really cool, and I'm not even gonna try it. All right, it's named by the people of the west of Lake, or something else, named by people in the east of Lake. It's the largest lake on the Faroe Islands, and the lake looks like it's floating high above the ocean. In fact, this is a big optical illusion. The lake is about 30 meters above the sea level, but the steep cliff combined with the perfect angles create the illusion of it as if it's 100 meters high. The cliff where I'm standing is Trealanapa, also known as the Slave Cliff. It's about 142 meters upward from the ocean. And Slave Cliff got its name when the slaves were pushed off the cliff and threw into the ocean in the Viking era. So this one here is our longest hike out there. We actually hike from the very far right of this photo, hike along that lake, and then that last little section there is a little bit of an incline going up there. Not too steep, but it's a good, I forget, maybe a couple miles out there. But you know, we can go slow. It's not like we have to run out there to get out there, but you know, as long as everyone can do a little bit of hiking, it's not that bad to get out there. It was super windy the day that we were out there. Here to give it a little bit of a scale. Here's a little selfie of me right at the edge there photographing this. And you can see some of our group over here just to the left. And you can see in the lower right-hand corner is where that lake is. And my shot from that using a solid neutral density filter to slow down the water, the ocean water, also a split grad to help keep detail in the sky. So it's probably, if I'm guessing, probably about a 5-minute exposure. Possible add-ons. So I mentioned before that there's lots of different areas to explore out there. We can't hit them all. Again, depending on the light, we can go here and there. Sudaroy, mentioned that a little bit before. Lots of sheep, lots of dramatic cliff overhangs. Dragonar, this is that rock that when we were going out to Mechanes for the puffins. This is from up on top here. We didn't get a chance to go out there this past summer. Just we weren't getting the light that would have been really good for that area there, but this is definitely some place we'll be keeping an eye on for the light to get out there. And you can see a little tiny lighthouse way out there in the background. And another fun fact, did you know that there are no indigenous trees that grow on the Faroe Islands? This is due to the extreme ocean, I can't even speak anymore, ocean climate. With winds bring substantial amount of sea salt into the air, makes the soils very unfavorable to trees. Although there are a few species from South America that have been introduced since the 1970s. So here is, again, our little splash screen for the Faroe Islands. And we are hoping you can come and join us.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.
Let me go ahead and get